الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا مباركا طيبا فيه. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. قال الله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين تمسكوا بها وعضوا عليها بالنواضع وإياكم ومحدثة الأمور فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد فيا أيها المسلمون، قال الله تعالى: ما لكم لا تناصرون بل هم اليوم مستسلمون. وأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون قالوا إنكم كنتم تأتوننا عن اليمين قالوا بل لم تكونوا مؤمنين. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمين يا رب العالمين. First and foremost, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us the opportunity to gather in this masjid to listen to this khutbah, to perform Salatul Jum'ah. For that we'll all say Alhamdulillah. Often we hear lectures, sermons, and talks about telling our women folk, our mothers and sisters, not to indulge in gossip. And then we tell them what types of actions brings you towards gossip and how to stay away from them. And today, I'm not here to talk about the sisters' gossip, but rather the brothers' gossip. And it's something that is not mentioned enough. And as we all know, we, as a community, we like to indulge in the affairs of society. We like to discuss it amongst our peers, colleagues, brothers. And one of the biggest things amongst men that they discuss is politics. And politics is something that it shapes society. From the time when civilization was established, from the Mesopotamian era till 2023, politics is something that is here, was here, and as long as society will have an order established, politics will be there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests this ummah with many trials and tribulations, with many fitna. Fitna is test, is trials. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this ummah many tests. It could be diseases, disaster, financial disasters. It could be a time where your iman is in danger, as we are right now. So, in between all these trials and tribulations where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put you in a position to see what do you do as a Muslim, what do you do as a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Politics just happens to be one of them. And today I'm not here to tell you who is right and who is wrong, but rather what is right and what is wrong. After Rasulullah passed away, there was a couple of years where the Muslim Ummah did not face their tests, their major tests yet. The time of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu was like a golden age. And Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then the time of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu comes and the Muslim starts facing conflicts between one another. Hence comes the Muslim politics. And continuing on from there, up until now, we have conflicts amongst Muslim brothers all over the world. Let alone us preparing to fight what's outside, what's coming from outside, the kuffar, the Christians and the Jews that are trying to bite at us at every single opportunity to get. Rather than fighting that, we are too busy wasting our time, money, energy, brotherhood, everything fighting each other. And it is something that we have to mention, that we have this blindness. We have this blindness, and today I'm here to talk about that blindness you have. We have lost our priorities. And I'm not saying nationalism, having that sense, that love for your nation is something bad. No, that's something that's definitely good. You should have pride and love for your nation, for your country. But that is second. And that's what we Muslims forget. That's what we Muslims forget. And I often hear this on the news, off the news, in public, at the coffee places. I often hear this. Don't mix Islam with politics. Don't mix Islam with politics. The life of Rasulullah was politics. His life was politics. It's a sunnah of Rasulullah to indulge yourself in society. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not tell you to just pray. Establish it. Establish it. The life of Rasulullah was not just doing khutbah and talking good with others. No, he had to work his way up until he conquered Mecca, until the Sahaba, they saw their doors open to the doors of Syria, to the doors of East and West. You think that came from just giving khutbahs in the masjid? So the point I'm trying to make is, do not separate Islam from anything, not just politics, but do not separate Islam from anything. And once you separate Islam from anything, whatever the case is, that thing is not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anymore. That thing will not benefit you in this dunya or the akhirah. Remember, we all have an opinion. You all have an opinion. But I'm sorry to tell you right now, whatever opinion is, it does not matter in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not matter in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us to state our opinion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us to ask us about our opinion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only created us to care about what He said, what He told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell us. And the point I'm making here today is in your hearts. In your heart. And those who discuss politics with their friends know what I'm talking about. That in your hearts, when a certain leader is mentioned, or a certain figure in politics, or a certain figure in power, it doesn't have to be politics, certain people, certain person of knowing that people know him, in your heart, instantly you feel, oh, he's good, or either, no, he's bad. Think about it back home. There's maybe a ruling party and a party against it. And if you hear one name, your mind instantly becomes something, maybe negative. And you hear the person in the opposition, your mind instantly makes dua for him. But what is this based on? What is that love you have based on? What is that hate you have for the other person based on what? Any love or hate should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Him alone. We know, as I mentioned, we will be faced with fitna, trials and tribulations and tests. Just like the time of after Usman radiallahu ta'ala passed away, the time when Yazid was rising, people that was behind Yazid, they prayed, they gave zakah, they said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Behind Yazid, Yazid said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows his action, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge his actions. I'm not here to say who is right, who is wrong. I'm here to tell you what is right and what is wrong. You as a person, the reason why I mentioned this topic today, you as a person, your support probably doesn't mean anything to anyone. What your heart feels does not mean anything to anyone. But it means something to you, because it affects you. If your heart has a soft place for those that are killing the ulama, those that can't stand the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those that are in fear of the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being established. Why? Because if the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being established, then their pockets will start running out, because corruption will be out. Those that fear the ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet in your heart you have a soft place for them. Why? Because your forefathers supported the same party, supported the same way of rule. You want to follow the footsteps of your forefathers? Think about the forefathers of the Sahaba that were killed in the battle of Badr fighting against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ways of your forefathers doesn't mean anything. Remember, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. There's no party 1, party 2, party 2, party 4. Nothing like that. There's only 2 groups. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة. It doesn't matter if in this dunya, if your name is Hassan and Abdullah, if in actions you have soft place in your heart, in actions you tend to be with those, you take them as role model, you make way out of your day to support them, those that are against the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your support doesn't even mean anything, but no, your heart just feels something for them. While it should be the opposite. What did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us? مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ وَذَلِكَ ضَعْفُ الْإِيمَانِ. These oppression that you're seeing, oppression against people that don't stand a chance against these powers, oppression against this amana that we have given to us, that to preserve the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, preserve the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oppression against these laws, oppression against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet our heart is not moved. You know what this means? Based on the hadith I just read, that if you see this and your heart, even just your heart, does not feel against it, it doesn't matter if this man is your favorite party's leader, this man has done so and so. If he did 10 things and number 11 is going against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is someone we do not want to rise for the day of judgment. Why? Why do I mention this? As I mentioned again, that what you support, who you support, probably doesn't even matter to the so-called party or certain group, certain being that's in power. Your support probably doesn't mean anything to him. But in your grave, you have a grave to go to, you know? You have a grave to go to. You have a Lord that you have to answer to on the day of judgment. On that day, as if I mentioned in the beginning, I've read a few ayahs from Surah Safat. On that day, on the day of judgment, when you see that you're on the side, that is not the side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that day. He describes it. وَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. That day, each one of you that stood behind against the people of Tawhid, people that are oppressors, people that kill the ulama, because if they kill the ulama, their pockets stay heavy. People who kill the ulama to establish their throne, to make sure their throne stays. You will blame each other. And what will you say? قَالُوا إِنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَأْتُونَنَا عَنِ الْيَمِينِ. That leader of that party, that leader of that group, he misled me. Ya Allah, he misled me. I was just a normal being. And because of emotions or whatnot, I was misled by this being. And you know what? Your leader, that person who you have a soft heart for in this dunya, that person that you defend against your brothers or colleagues whenever the discussion comes up, that person, you know what they will say? قَالُوا بَلْ لَمْ تَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. No, I did not mislead you. You misled yourself. You misled yourself. And this is the truth. The ayah, the hadith, the ways is in front of you. History is in front of you. Think about the time, as I mentioned the story again. In the time of Yazid and the conflict between him and Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the people that supported Yazid, they got more money, they got more fame, they were more popular amongst the people that time. They had more power. But what does history tell you today? Who is looked down upon? Who is looked down upon? You know, this is the course of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, all power is nothing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why? Why do we see this? Because He puts stuff into play to see what will His servants do. And in a time like this, where we have so many conflicts amongst Muslim brothers, in almost every Muslim nation, what should we do as a Muslim? And here I'm here to tell you, do not blindly follow anyone. Do not blindly support anyone. Do not blindly defend anyone's honor. Defend yourself from the punishment of your grave, rather. These people that do not care about the Quran and Sunnah, These people that do not care about the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people that do not care in having relations with people that do not care about the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People who have no regard for halal and haram. These people, you're supporting them when they're in power. It's not a trend. It's not a trend where you just say whatever. Every single thing you say, every single thought you feel, every single thought you think is recorded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And each one of them will be asked individually. Each one of them. A man, he rules you. And he kills the ulama. And the reason why I mention this is actually very sad to see. It's very sad to see. And yet, you're supporting him, but you expect on the day of judgment, you'll be with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'm telling you right now, not all la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is the same. Not all la ilaha illallah is the same. One la ilaha illallah brings people to the battlefield, put people under the sword, put people in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the shaheed. That's one type of la ilaha illallah. Another type of la ilaha illallah is just the words. Do not be amongst those that only follow la ilaha illallah, that is just words. Rather be with those that follow la ilaha illallah, that there is no power but Allah, no God but Allah. Do not give into any worldly powers before your own pride, before your country's pride, before your father's, mother's, your family's pride. First comes the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't mean this as offensive to anyone, any individual group or any individual being. I'm just saying, save yourself from the hellfire. You already sin enough. You and me, we already sin enough in a day. We sin enough in a day. You know, it's countless. It's absurd to even try to count that. And over that, you want to add it by supporting another sinner? By supporting another sinner? How far will you dig your grave? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us proper understanding. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those that can stand with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment and confidently say, Ya Rasulullah, in this dunya, I live by your morals. I established your morals. I supported the ruler that had your morals. I stood against those that were oppressors, that did not like the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? To keep their throne intact. Ya Rasulullah, I fought what you fought for. Ya Rasulullah, I stood against what you stood against for. Ya Rasulullah, I stood for what you stood for. Those are the people that will be with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will feed water from the well of Kawthar. Those are the people that will be with those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said they are the successful ones. Those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come in front of on the day. He will come in front of them and say, "Oh my servant, you have fulfilled my will." Don't you want to be amongst those? Do not bow down to any power blindly. Do not bow down to any power that is against the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with this I want to conclude. That before anyone, not just any politics or anything like that, before anything you do or anything you feel, always give it a check with the Quran and Sunnah. As I mentioned in the beginning, that do not follow blindly. We should have a standard that if this group, this person meets this standard, he has my support, he has my support in terms of activity, my energy, my money. But what is that standard? Quran and Sunnah. Someone's against it, you are against them. You love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hate for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us all. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. وبعد، قال الله تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى أصحاب سيدنا محمد وعلى أزواج سيدنا محمد وعلى ذرية سيدنا محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. You know, we all know that when the time of end comes, and we all know the narrations, for the majority of us, for those that don't know, I'll mention again. There are narrations that when the Mahdi will come, there will be many Muslims standing against him. There are many Muslims standing against him. And if you tell a Muslim right now, they will confidently tell you, no, I will, if Mahdi was supposed to go as, let's say it comes right now, I'm confident I'll be behind him, fighting for him. You know who Rasulullah was talking about? There will be many Muslims, people who say La ilaha illallah, standing against the Mahdi, is those that are standing against the Quran and Sunnah today. You know, in every oppression we see, every oppression of Muslims all over the world, you go through your Instagram or Facebook, whatever it is, and if you see a video of oppression of Muslims, you go through the comment section, it's all wait for the Mahdi, just wait, and he's gonna save us. Time is something that it does not sit by. It does not sit by. Prepare your iman, prepare your taqwa from now. From now, the Mahdi will not go to your grave. He's not going to your grave. You are going to your grave. Turn around before it's too late. Stop entertaining yourself with the entertainment of those that oppress you. You know, we are, every time in Ramadan, there is the oppression that goes on in Masjid al-Aqsa, and there is Free Palestine, these oppressors and so whatnot. But those same people that are posting these, going to these rallies all over with the flags and everything, those people will come home and you find their kids are watching HBO on their TV. Their kids are watching these Western movies on their TV. These kids are listening to the Western music. Where is your iman? Where is your taqwa? Where is the common sense? You're standing against something, but you're entertaining yourself with their entertainment. That's what I'm saying. It's time to stop playing. It's time to understand that the grave is more near to you than you think it is. So, in the light of what I talked about today, that have that standard within yourself, not just in politics, but in anything that you do. Is it according to Quran and Sunnah? It could be entertainment, it could be politics, family matters, financial matters, your studies, your jobs, anything. Have that standard that my standard is, does it violate the Quran and Sunnah? If it does, you're out of it. If it doesn't, go for it. And then you'll be amongst those that are successful. And only that are successful will rise with Rasulullah on the Day of Judgment. If any of you took any offense because of what I said, because I didn't mean any offense to anyone, forgive me for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and try to follow what I said today. Try to your best of abilities. You know, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create angels that are sitting here. He created human beings. And from human beings, you cannot accept perfection, but you can accept is effort. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see our effort. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to put in the proper effort. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those that stands behind Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in all matters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us have that standard which is Quran and Sunnah. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا برحمتك شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب خطايا ونتوب إليك اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين اللهم أهلك الكفرة والمشركين اللهم رد المسلمين إلى دينك مردا جميلا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين أقم الصلاة يرحمكم الله.
الله